fruits that we've heard all those rumors about.
Devil fruit? The hidden treasure of the sea.
The devil fruits. Those who eat them are said to gain extraordinary, otherworldly abilities. The power to breathe fire. The power to cause tsunamis. Rumors persist that there are many types of these fruits, but next to nothing is known about them. It is said that the secrets to them lie somewhere in the Grand Line.
A One Piece game where you can create your own character, create or join your own crew, and explore and fight on the seas of the One Piece world. That would be the perfect One Piece game for me. What's good YouTube? Red Ronnie here, and today I'm going to dive deep into how devil fruits will work in my dream One Piece game. This is part of the ongoing series in which I break down game mechanics and features I'd want in my One Piece game idea. So if you're new to the channel, go ahead and subscribe to stay updated. Before Haki was formally introduced almost 600 chapters into the story, the main power system of One Piece was devil fruit powers. Extraordinary abilities obtained by eating devil fruits. They're one of the main staples of the series, and there couldn't possibly be a perfect One Piece game without them being present. Now I'm assuming anyone who's been watching my series so far has been anticipating the release of this video just as much as I've been anticipating to finally make it. And ever since I teased my ideas of how devil fruits will work in the game in my first One Piece video, I would get a comment every now and then referring back to that tease. More often than not in disagreement, which is fine obviously, like I like to have discussions and to see others' ideas. But enough of that chit chat, I'm sure we're all just ready to just dive into the video, so let's get to it. Let's discuss devil fruits in the perfect One Piece game. As always, before we start, remember to drop a like if you liked the video and go watch my previous One Piece videos before you finish this video to get a good idea of everything I'm talking about. So just like how we did for Haki, before we talk about how devil fruits will work in this game, let's go over the types of devil fruits and how they actually work in this series. So there are 3 types of devil fruits: Paramecia, Zone, and Logia, with each type varying in rarity and usefulness. Paramecia types are the most common types of devil fruits in this series. It's honestly kind of hard to really describe what Paramecia types are just because they consist of the most wacky and zany powers. You have a fruit that allows the user to swim through solid matter, a fruit that lets the user create earthquakes from anywhere, and even a fruit that lets the user turn themselves into a jacket for which someone else could put them on and they could control them. There's like no consistency. Well, I guess that's kind of a lie. So technically there are 3 subcategories of Paramecia fruits: bodily alterations, environment alterations, and substance generators. Bodily alteration Paramecia types cause the user to have a permanent or retractable alteration to their body, whether that's turning the user's body completely into rubber or being able to turn parts of your body into a multitude of weapons on a whim. Environment alteration Paramecia types allow the user to cause unnatural effects on the environment around them. So like creating a transparent room that allows the user to manipulate anything and anyone else who's inside it, or allowing the user to manipulate the gravity around an object or person. Substance generation Paramecia types allow the users to generate a type of non-elemental substance. These are usually comparable to Logia types without the intangibility, which we'll get into later. So this could be generating acid-like poison from the body or generating an impenetrable barrier in various shapes and sizes. So how would Paramecia types work in this game? Well, in terms of specifics, it's kind of hard to talk about it in one segment. But as a whole, Paramecia types will be pretty standard, where the player would just eat the fruit and unlock a few techniques by just leveling up, but won't really have anything from the fruit besides those techniques in the whole not being able to swim thing. In fact, a lot of Paramecia types won't have many techniques you could get from them, with some of them even giving the user just one technique. That's because a lot of Paramecia types we've seen in this series consist of more gimmicky one-off powers, like the rush touch of the Sabi Sabi no Mi or transforming things into food with the Kiku Kiku no Mi. Now of course the more fleshed out and powerful Paramecia types will have a lot to gain in terms of techniques and other abilities, but that depends on the specific fruit being discussed. Now I know I've been talking a lot about Paramecia types already, but I promise this is the last point: awakenings. How would Paramecia awakenings work? Well, in this series, when a Paramecia user awakens their abilities, they essentially become a special Paramecia type, like Katakuri. For example, you have Doflamingo, who already has a substance generation Paramecia in the Iti no Mi, that then upon being awakened allows him to turn objects and structures into strings like an environment altering Paramecia type. So again, I think the actual function of certain devil fruit awakenings will need a deeper dive. That's why I've come up with the idea of dropping a side series to this One Piece series, aptly titled Devil Fruit Functions in the Perfect One Piece Game, where I'll take certain devil fruits and break down how they will work in the game. But I'll only do this side series if you guys want it, so I'm gonna have a poll in the corner of the video and you all can vote on it if you want that. These videos will be like a lot quicker. I'll probably upload a lot faster with these videos because, you know, they'll be a lot shorter and everything. So yeah, if you guys want that, go ahead and vote in the corner. But for now, let's continue on with zone types. Zone type devil fruits allow the user to transform into an animal of some kind. On top of that, they also get a second transformation called a hybrid form, which is a cross between their basic human form and the animal the fruit is based around. This hybrid form is usually considered the zone user's strongest form because it gives them the stat boost and size of the animal form while allowing them to retain their human physiology and skill set. While most zone types are common everyday animals you can see in the wild in our own world, there are two extra subcategories of zone types: ancient zones and mythical zones. Ancient zone types allow the users to become an ancient or prehistoric animal, so like dinosaurs and other animals that existed back in that time. Mythical zone types allow the user to become a mythological creature, so like the phoenix and even some deities like the Buddha. They're by far the most rare fruits in this series, with there only being 8 shown in the story and a few shown in non-canon media. Zone types will probably be the easiest to play as because while your character would transform, you would pretty much keep the same fighting style and weapons except you just be bigger and have boosted stats. At least with the hybrid transformations. For the full beast transformation, you wouldn't gain too many abilities seeing as you'll be a full animal, so you'll get the traits and techniques of whatever animal you are. So if you're like a carnivorous type of creature, then you'll probably get like a bite attack and stuff along those lines. Mythical zones, however, do get new abilities while being in both transformations. The techniques vary in each fruit, but all mythical zones have been shown to give the user another ability on top of that transformation. So if Kaido's Uu no Mi model Siryu, he gets Bola Breath, or Sengoku's Hito Hito no Mi model Buddha, he gets his shockwaves. Zone types have also been shown to have awakenings as well. From what Crocodile said and based on the behavior of the beast pirates, one can assume that the awakening of zone users is an increase of durability and recovery. So that'll just be how it works in the game. Awakened zone players will have increased durability and will be able to recover from their life being depleted after a while. But they will only be able to do this a few times, maybe like 3 times max. So basically, an awakened zone player could get beat in battle 2 times and even come back for a 3rd time before ultimately dying. And finally, on to Logia types. Logia type devil fruits are the most rare of the 3 main types and the second most rare after mythical zones. Logia type fruits grant the users the power to transform their body's composition into a natural element at will, as well as to create and control it. Logia fruits also grant the user intangibility, where attacks and such will just phase through the user's body, as their body is made up of whatever element they control. In this game, Logia fruits will work the same as they do in this series pretty much. Aside from the obvious techniques and buffs you would get depending on whatever fruit you ate, Logia fruit players will also get Logia intangibility. So to any players who don't have Haki or don't use Fishman Karate, Logia players will appear to be completely invincible. And depending on what Logia the user ate, attacking them can even cause damage like with the Mago Mago no Mi. Now there are some exceptions to this, like elemental counters. So if a Logia has a weakness outside the use of Haki or Fishman Karate, they can be vulnerable to those attacks. So a fire-based attack against the Yuki Yuki no Mi or a rubber-based attack against the Goro Goro no Mi. There are also upgraded versions of Logia devil fruits that can counter them. So like the Mirror Mirror no Mi being weak to the Mago Mago no Mi. So even though they can be pretty overpowered, Logia users wouldn't be invincible. So now that we've gone over the types of devil fruits and how they work in the game, how would players find and obtain devil fruits? Devil fruits will be scattered across the map in between servers. So every devil fruit won't be found in any one server at a time, but between multiple. And they will also only stay in servers for a few days before they spawn into a different one. Devil fruits will be incredibly rare. Even with Paramecia being the most common to find, devil fruits in general would just be rare. Much rarer to find than Haki or Fishman Karate teachers. If I had to put an unofficial probability number on it, I'd say there's about a 1 in 5 chance a player who's actively looking for a devil fruit will find one, and maybe a 1 in 10 chance a casual player will stumble upon one. The reason for this should be obvious. Devil fruits in the series are really rare. Yeah, we might see them a lot in this series, but that's just the plot of One Piece and the fact that a lot of strong characters happen to be devil fruit users. In this game, you're being plopped into the world of One Piece. You aren't some main character to the plot. You're existing in the world just like every other player, so everything is not just gonna come to you. The other reason they'd be so rare is because there would be just one of every devil fruit in the game. Well, not in the entire game, but by region. So like there will only be one Gummy Gummy no Mi in the North American region of the game, and there will only be one in the Asian region of the game, and so on and so forth for every devil fruit. Now I know that sounds kind of crazy, but think about it for a second. Not only does that align with how it works in this series, but it also allows for players to be unique and for everyone to not have the same techniques and abilities. Don't you just hate when you play an online game and everyone picks the same kind of player or build, and now everyone is just walking around cheesing the same moves over and over again? I know I do. I don't know, it's just something about being able to be different than everyone else in the game that really intrigues me. So after all of that, if you're able to eventually come into contact with a devil fruit, which would usually be around trees and bushes, you'll eat that fruit if you want and you'll gain the abilities. Now once again, just like Haki and fighting styles, devil fruits will have their own skill tree. And the more you level up and gain ability skill points, the more techniques you unlock from your skill tree depending on your devil fruit. Again, some devil fruits just have more techniques or uses than others. Also, upon finding the devil fruit, you wouldn't know the name of it at first. Now of course there are a few devil fruits shown in this series by design, but there are way more fruits that we haven't seen before. But once you eat a devil fruit, it will be updated to a devil fruit encyclopedia, which everyone will have. Think of it as like a Pokédex for devil fruits. Other ways to get entries into the encyclopedia would be to interact with a devil fruit user in some shape or form, and then their devil fruit will be updated into an encyclopedia. So that could be just like fighting someone, interacting, like, chatting up, maybe it could be your friends or something like that. Something you guys are just interacting with each other. The cool thing about this, depending on who you ask, is that once you have a devil fruit entered in your encyclopedia, you'll be able to see the name and face of the current user of that given fruit, along with the name of every player that ate it before. Now you won't be able to track them, but it does give you a goal just in case you want to blackberry somebody. Speaking of killing others for devil fruits, what happens when a devil fruit user dies? When a devil fruit user dies, of course they will respawn because this is a video game, obviously, but they would lose their devil fruit. Yes, I know that's not fair, they're so hard to find, yada yada yada, I know. But hear me out for a second. Not only does this allow everyone to get a chance to try out a certain devil fruit, but it also allows you to try out different devil fruits if you find another one. And again, if you want to find the one you just lost, you could just look up the next person who ate it in your encyclopedia and track them down. The fruit would spawn back in your server for a while before it spawns into a different one. Also, you wouldn't lose progress on your skill tree for losing a certain devil fruit. So if you had the Gummy Gummy no Mi and unlocked your 4th and then you died and lost it, if you found it again, you'd still have your 4th unlocked on the skill tree. And I know despite all that, not everyone would be on board with that idea, and I completely understand. But I personally think this is a cool idea. I'm a big fan of survival-esque games, and I really love the idea of working for things in order to get them in the game. I honestly think games nowadays are just way too easy, and they gift you with things for not doing much. Like there isn't enough challenge in games, and that just isn't the case in the world of One Piece. Characters have to work for every ounce of strength and power they achieve in the series. If you really want a devil fruit power, then make it your mission to go out there and find one. And once you find one, level up and hone your abilities so that you don't lose it. Simple as that. And even if you never get a devil fruit power, you still have other cool powers and techniques from your fighting styles and Haki. That's why I talked about those first, because unlike devil fruit powers and Conqueror's Haki, everything else is pretty much guaranteed. And honestly, the wisest thing for players to do would just to not actively go look for devil fruits and just hone their Haki and fighting styles, because there's no point in having a devil fruit ability if you're going to get no diff by a much higher level Haki user. Hell, some of the strongest characters in this series don't have devil fruit powers, so they aren't the end all be all. And with that, I hope I was able to convince at least a few of you of my reasoning for wanting it to be this way. But for the last segment of this already long video, I'll take the time to actually answer comments that I'm pretty sure will be in the comment section of this video. So the first one being, would players be able to trade devil fruits? Yes, players will be able to trade devil fruits, but it wouldn't be like a system in place for it in the game. Since this game would be pretty much completely community based, you would just have to go out and meet a person and you guys would discuss and make the deal yourselves. So whether someone really wants to trade for money or is just setting you up, it would all be possible and legal in the confines of this game. Would devil fruits have limits? Well, yes and no. Some devil fruits do have a limit on their power, like the Appa Appa no Mi draining the user's stamina, but from what we can tell, most devil fruits have an almost unlimited output, especially Logias. So there wouldn't be like a devil fruit meter that would drain every time you use a devil fruit technique. Instead, your attacks and techniques would just have a cooldown times, so you can't spam the same attack over and over. But in terms of devil fruit functions that aren't attacks, they would be limitless. So like Logia intangibility would be an automatic limitless thing, as well as devil fruits that grant the user flight. You could be in the air as long as you want. Would smiles be in the game? Well, again, yes and no. So NPC smile enemies would be in the game that you can fight or might have a mission or quest to fight, but players would not be able to eat smile fruits. The reason for that being a technical one, at least from my understanding. Smile fruits aren't like actual devil fruits. They cause a permanent wacky change to the user's body, like giving the character a lion's stomach or giving someone 6 legs like a scorpion. I just feel like the changes would bring on more technical challenges and issues for the game. Would devil fruits work with weapons? Yes, devil fruits would work with weapons. Well, at least the ones we know work with them. So some techniques we've seen in this series that use both a devil fruit power and a weapon could be unlocked, but you would have to have that specific devil fruit power and weapon to perform the attack. So for example, Katakuri's Mochi Thrust could only be performed by having eaten the Mochi Mochi no Mi and using a spear-like weapon for the attack. Some devil fruits just add effects to melee weapons, such as maybe a Mirror no Mi user being able to burn opponents using a sword for melee. What if someone goes around hunting devil fruit users? So if a group of players or a crew just decide to get together and blackbeard a bunch of devil fruit users, then the obvious response would be to create a defense force for that, right? Again, this game would be almost completely community based. So if a group of players can just come together and can kill players for their devil fruits, then there can also be an uprising of players who want to stop them. And the last question, what if someone eats a devil fruit but doesn't play the game much? Now I'm fully aware that this will most likely be an issue, and I kinda have a solution for it. When a player eats a devil fruit, they will be given a list of 3 tasks to do every 2 weeks, ranging in difficulty. If they don't complete their bi-weekly tasks, then they lose their devil fruit. This forces players to actually have to play the game in order to keep the devil fruit power, while also allowing them time to save themselves from losing it. The reason it's bi-weekly is because being gone for a week for a vacation or something like that is pretty reasonable, so 2 weeks it is. And that's pretty much all I have to say about how devil fruits will work in this game. If you have any questions that I didn't address in the video, please let me hear them in the comments. And again, if you would like me to talk about specific devil fruits, then make sure you go back and vote on that poll. I would love to make those videos. Tune into the next video where I talk about cyborgs and body modifications. Follow me on Instagram at RedXRonnie, follow me on Twitter at RedXRonnie, join our Discord in the link. Remember to like and subscribe for more. See you in the next one. Peace.